Hi, you are back here with Pods with Posh and Pool for our little mini lockdown series, and today we are talking to the lovely Anna Hall-Taylor. Hi Anna, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great.
In the middle of my work day, which is going pretty good.
And today, Anna, we're talking to you because you are, can you just tell us how old you are?
I'm 21.
So you're 21, you had to come home from university, is that right?
Wellington, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously everybody's life's changed in lockdown. We've all had to come home or spend a lot more time with our family. And I'm sure we're going to aim this for the late teens, early 20s. Just wondering how you guys are coping with it, because we've talked to a lot of parents, a lot of business owners. So how are you finding lockdown?
I think we're finding it okay. I think a lot of us are quite bored, going on Netflix, YouTube a lot. But we've actually been doing quite well. We've been going on doing quite a few like online activities, like online Pictionary, Scrabble, like pub quizzes. So we've been keeping ourselves entertained.
Because you, Anna, are sharing a flat in Wellington with a group of friends, aren't you? And that's quite a hard transition because in your 20s and late teens, you need to be surrounded by friends. Your peer group is so important to you. And I think I've got 14s, Joe's got 14s, and the struggle that they've got is missing their friends. And so for listeners that are coming on board, it's okay to miss your friends. And you're reconnecting in lovely ways online. So being online is quite an important part of your journey right now, isn't it? To stop isolation.
Definitely. I think I would be feeling so isolated without Zoom and House Party and all the other, there's so many that people are learning about now, but it's been good for my technical skills actually, learning how to link up with everyone. But it has been hard. It's definitely not the same as, my mum actually said this the other day, as, you know, when you're even when you get together in a group, you can nudge the person next to you and ask them how they're going and have a proper conversation. You can't really do that as well on Zoom because you're kind of having to talk to everyone. So it's not the same, but it's definitely a good substitute.
It's funny, I think even if you're not a huggy person, I think we are all noticing the lack of actual touch and being in close proximity with people, isn't it? You know, like you have that, it's that energy exchange, isn't it? And we're all missing that, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been weird for sure. There's been quite a bit of anxiety. I know I'm not the only one in my friend group, but we've been supporting each other, telling each other to go on runs if we've been feeling bad. But
So Anna, do you feel exercise is an important part of your routine and your structure?
I do, definitely, actually. I try to go for a run every day. My friend Evie's been sending me online workouts. She's been making up workouts, so we've kind of been doing those. And yeah, I feel like it just makes me feel so much better.
And it gets rid of some of that, and as you say, you know, there's a lot of feelings of anxiety at the minute, and that's normal because we are very much in the unknown, and when we're in the unknown, we're often thrown into anxiety. Whereas exercise just allows us to release some of that energy, because you know, when you're anxious, things feel a little bit tighter. It's harder to breathe. It's harder to concentrate. Go out for a run, you come back a totally different person, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So much so. I just feel, at least for like about an hour after I go for a run, I feel so calm.
And Anna, also when you're at university or you're working in a shop or you're involved in your career, you've got a sense of purpose. That purpose almost gets shut down, doesn't it? The minute you have to move back home and we're in our little bubbles. Do you think it's important to have a structure to your day while you're in lockdown? Is that something you've implemented?
I have. I think it is really important. For me, it's been probably a bit easier because I've been studying part-time but also working full-time. And so every day I still have a 9 a.m. Zoom call and then a 10 a.m. Zoom call. So it kind of gets me up. But if I didn't have this, I would probably force myself to get up at 8 anyway and go for a run. Try, do some writing or some other personal project just to feel like I'm getting something done.
But tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing.
So I'm a receptionist for Jackson Stone and Partners. It's a recruiting company. And it's kind of weird actually, because I started working, I worked there for a week and then we went into lockdown. So they gave me a computer monitor. They've been so good. And I've been doing what I can. It's been quite a weird time. I didn't really get to know many of them very well before I had to come back. And so now I'm kind of getting to know them on Zoom calls and Cards Against Humanity over the internet and stuff. So it's been interesting.
And you said about some writing. What kind of writing have you been doing?
So before they're definitely a personal project sort of thing, but before the lockdown, I was kind of in the middle of writing a few short stories, and I'm still trying to write them now, but it's, as I was saying to you before, I've definitely had a bit of writer's block just because everything I was writing before the lockdown now feels a bit irrelevant.
And I think that's a good message to our listeners as well, is that maybe you're trying to do something in your day that you would do before, but you're struggling to do it because your mind's in a different place. And I think a lot of people have been through a period of grief, letting go of things that were past their normal life, as we've talked about friends and routines, grief and loss, and coming into a place of where am I, what's going on, what does my future look like, when is this going to end, all those questions. And it can just completely inhibit what we want to do. So I think it's really good to reinforce those feelings. They're very normal at this time. In terms of looking forward, are you in sort of overwhelm or confusion about what's going on? Are you desperate to get out? Are you just sort of riding in it, I'll just go with what comes? Where are you at with the future?
I feel a little bit stumped actually. I wouldn't say I feel desperate to get out. I'm kind of riding it out, but also feeling a bit confused and a bit just not really knowing what to think or feel. But it definitely seems like everyone feels that way. I know my boyfriend, every night we just have a conversation I feel so weird right now, but
is that helpful to know that other people are feeling the same thing as you?
Definitely. Yeah. It's helpful, and it's kind of weird because you just know exactly how they're feeling, but you don't really have anything to say to help them either. You're all just kind of like, yeah, we just gotta ride this out.
But I think that's sometimes what we need to do anyway. We share our feelings, and often we don't need to hear any answers or advice from anybody. Sometimes we just need to get out how we're feeling and just share that. That's, problem shared is a problem halved. That's, the old saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Anna, so many people say, gosh, I took this for granted and I took that for granted. Other things other than your friends that you think, gosh, you'd really taken it for granted, that was part of your normal everyday life, that you hadn't sort of thought about?
Definitely. Even just the biggest thing, honestly, is just being able to go get a takeaway or just go out for dinner one night because we feel like it, which is a luxury in itself, living so close to the city, but we just did it all the time. And being able to go to the movies or go out for a drink, that sort of thing, I think we've all been really enjoying. Because it kind of, they're the sort of things you look forward to at the end of the week. And
so to our listeners,
we've had our freedom taken away, haven't we? And I think that's what it is. It's the freedom of choice, the freedom of just being able to do what you want when you want without actually giving it much thought. So do you think when we come out of lockdown we will appreciate things a heck of a lot more?
Definitely. I know I will, for sure. I miss them so I'm having dreams at the moment of just what I'll do when I get out of this.
And to our listeners who are sitting there thinking, well, Anna's got a purpose, she's got her friend, she's got a quiz night, she's got a boyfriend, and she's got her job. I don't have any of that. I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a job, I've got no university to go back to, and actually I'm sitting at home depressed. What's the message to them you give them, Anna, to encourage them?
I would say I've been comparing myself to people a lot as well. I find for some reason now when I go on Instagram, it affects me more than it did before. And I've definitely been feeling insecure because I feel like this time does force you to confront certain things that you maybe have been putting off before it. But I would just say maybe use this time to work through some of those feelings. On days that I've been feeling a bit low, I've just gotten up a Word document and just typed out everything I'm feeling just to work through it all. And sometimes that can be really good. And just not to feel like you're doing the wrong thing or that you're behind everyone else, because everyone's literally in the same situation. We're literally all just sitting doing nothing really, and everyone does things in their own time.
That's a lovely bit of advice, because at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter where we are in life, how old we are, comparison is never a healthy thing. And it's funny how you say, now it's affecting you more than it was, because we're just less busy. We've got less distractions now. So if you do go onto Instagram and all of a sudden you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody else, well then get the heck off Instagram and just bring it back to basics, because nobody has got a perfect life. It doesn't matter what Instagram shows or what social media shows. And comparison is one of our biggest thief of joy, shall we say.
For sure.
And to all our listeners who are feeling in overwhelm, who are feeling they just want to opt out of life, that it's too hard, please do get to visit your GP. You can get an online call if you want to seek further help or counselling support. And also you can look at Gumboot Friday, that provides links to free counselling support for young 20s and teens. So we would encourage you to take that on. And Anna Hall-Taylor, thank you so much for joining us today. It's lovely to hear from such a bubbly, fun, beautiful young girl who has a lot going on in her life, that actually it is hard for you as well. And for those people that are comparing lives on Instagram, Anna doesn't have the perfect life. Nobody's got the perfect life. We're all doing the best we can in our circumstances. So Anna, thank you so much for your words of advice and wisdom, and for your own story.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so good.